Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneur Book Club book discussion. We have a very special guest today, and we are discussing, it's actually the author of the book that we are about to host a discussion on. I'm sorry. Thank you for your patience. So we have actually the Entrepreneur Book Club meets today, and we're discussing books that help with our entrepreneurial growth, our personal growth, and everything that involves becoming a better person or having leadership skills that are required from like that management position or when we are in positions of power. We need to learn how to become good leaders. We need to become how to have personal growth skills, personal development that puts us at a higher percentage so that we can understand others. Some of the time, like we pick some books that teaches but on that leadership skill and understanding that. And today we went to like the core. We went with a book that teaches us to the core of what where it all starts. So I believe that this is a book that's like essential. I wish we would have even read it first because I don't feel that we could be anywhere without the core of what this book is going to teach. And before I give you all the name of the person that's going to be our special guest today, I'm going to introduce you to my business coach, Trish Archie, who has been helping me get organized for now since 2021. So I've been separating my businesses. For those of you that don't know my business journey, I had all my businesses in one location, which was a boutique, med spa, and my own line of natural products. It wasn't allowing these businesses to grow. And what I had to do was get a different space that was just for the spa, leave the boutique as a store because it had grown and it needed space and employees of its own. And then I had to get a warehouse that would produce my products because our shelves could just not stay stocked. Our shelves, even right now, are empty because we have such high demand, and I actually have like contracts to go into like Whole Foods and go into other local businesses for sale that they need to allow me growth. And in doing this transition, Archie has been helping me get organized. So she's a professional organizer, and I thought, okay, yes. So I wasn't sure what I was getting into, but first I was like, girl, like, let me just find my desk. So we find my desk, but it involves so much more than that into getting organized. It just has kept going and going, and I have developed a relationship with Trish that has allowed me to meet her because I didn't realize how much organization played into my professional growth. And Trish has been a lifesaver. And Trish is a local professional organizer from El Paso. And I'm going to let her introduce herself and what she kind of does for a living before we go forward. Trish, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. As Michelle said, I am a professional organizer. I'm super excited to be here today. One of the hardest questions for me to answer is what I do. I'm hoping that through this discussion today that you guys can get a clearer understanding. I love what I do. I'm passionate. I don't feel like I ever work. I just help some really good people out in life. I know that the skill of organizing has been very personal for me as far as connecting with people, because I am, as most people, a lot of people from in El Paso, a transplant. It's helped me connect with people. It's helped me to, I guess, even learn a lot more about myself. I think that that happens a lot through the business. I love organizing things. Everywhere I go, I see stuff, and I immediately started thinking, like, how can I do this more? Michelle invited me here and asked me to pick a book that I could share with entrepreneurs that I could give value. I know that we're all short on time and money. We all have a lot of things to juggle and do. And just by sheer luck, I had been given this book before by my SCORE mentor, and I picked it up again with fresh eyes. And it was just right on time. It was right on time for what Michelle needed, where I could help give her a structure, how to organize so that she could take it with her. It wasn't just when we were together. It was something that she could do without me, and that she could continue to use to help her grow. So that's kind of me, and we'll get more into what I do through the discussion. But like I said, I picked this book because I thought it was a good vehicle to help and serve, help find entrepreneurs find something that they could use. So I'm going to introduce the lady that is here. She is the author of my book, Miss Regina Lees. She has been a professional organizer for 30 plus years. And I'm new to this, but I was just so thrilled and flattered to be able to have this discussion, and hopefully you guys can get something out of it as well.
Would you, hi, I'm Regina, and it's 33 years. I was 10 when I started. Well, let me say that I don't see organizing, when people say to me, well, are there any tools, do you want me to buy file folders? Do you want me to get, what do you want me to have on hand? And I think, well, first of all, I haven't seen your space, so I don't know what's leaving, and I don't know what you need to organize what's staying, because we haven't done that yet. And I never analyze people, but I get them to talk, and mostly I get them to talk about something that they love and feel good about, because it builds their self-esteem and it reminds them, hey, I may not be good at organizing, but I am good at something. And throughout those conversations come the clues to why the environment looks the way it does, because the environment tells the story of your life up to this point. And you, even if, like Michelle, you were so cute, you said the front of the house looks perfect and then the back is an explosion. Well, sometimes I walk into a home and I think, what am I going to do here? This is all perfect. And then we go into usually the master suite, and the bedroom is an explosion. So I like to find out, there are a lot of questions I like to ask you, and they're all in the book. Like, well, what was your home of origin like? Were your parents organized? Was one organized and one was disorganized? Who did you identify with? And very often, I'm not a fan of Dr. Phil, but he does have one good question. How's that working for you? So if you're mired in chaos, you're getting something out of it. So do you not really want to have the business you say you want to have? Do you not really want to have the relationship or the whatever? Something is going on. Sometimes it's fear of success. Fear of success and fear of failure are flip sides of the same coin. So sometimes when people work in an office, they unconsciously stay chaotic because I don't want the boss or my coworkers to ask me to do anything because I might fail. That's at play there. And then if they're the kind of person who's into doing what you do to the best of your ability, then they get into, oh my God, what else is going to be asked of me? Because I'm the one that everybody, so nothing is simple. Everything has a root cause. And if we go in and do a little excavation and understand what that root cause is, then we can set a new cause in motion, and then your environment will reflect that. And it won't be chaotic or destroyed in 2 weeks. There's a story in the book that is my favorite organizing story. It's one night Condé Nast came to LA and they took over a house, and they wanted to thank the women executives in LA that they had worked with. So in one room, you could go in and get a mani-pedi, and another room, you could go in and get a massage. And they, as an experiment, they had me in a room with the feng shui master so that you could come in and say, well, this is going on in my life. And I would try and solve your problems through organizing, and he would try and solve them through feng shui. And that's a very lovely thing. It didn't really go with an evening of mani-pedis and massages, but it was an experiment. And a young woman walked in. I'm going to say she was like 35, 36. Obviously, from the way she was dressed and carried herself, she was very successful. And she had two friends, and they came and they stood behind her on either side. So in my mind, I called her the general, and I called them the lieutenants. And she said to me, well, I find that every time I get organized, within 2 weeks, I need whatever it is I threw away. So what do you say about that? Then she crossed her arms, and her lieutenants mirrored her body language. So I'm looking at three women who are angry with me. And I said, well, this is what I would say. That is your belief. And as long as you hold that belief, you should not give anything away, because you're right. In 2 weeks, you're going to need it. And then you'll be angry with yourself or me or whoever. I said, but we call that in metaphysics a consciousness of loss. So where did that come from? That's what I would like to know. Did you ever lose your luggage on a trip? Were you ever robbed? And I came up with a host of scenarios. No. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking to myself, I think it's a cause and effect universe, but obviously I'm looking at the anomaly. This woman's strange belief does not come from anything. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I can't help you. I can't disabuse you of that notion. And you just continue to hold on to everything, because I don't want you to be angry with me. And look how successful you are. Clearly, you don't need this skill. It's good. It's okay. I'm fine. So she starts talking to the feng shui master, and I wish I had listened to what he was asking her, because I was in my head, I was going, how can this be? How can this be the only person in the world who isn't involved in cause and effect? And I don't know what he asked her, but she started to tell a story. And the story was, when she was 5 years old, she left home for the first time. She had a little suitcase, and she remembered how proud she felt and what a big girl she felt like. And she went to her friend's house to spend the night. And while she was there, her older brother accidentally burned down the house. So she had no home to go back to, and they lost everything. And I'm standing there trying to suppress screams of, oh, no wonder you don't want to throw anything away. But I didn't want to scream. So I said to her, excuse me, have you ever had therapy about that issue? Because that, I think, is the genesis of your belief. I said, what an incredible trauma. It would be a trauma for me if I left home and came back and everything was gone. And you were 5 years old and all you had was in that little suitcase. And she said, I've never thought about it. And I said, well, I think that's your hook. And I think you can unhook from this belief by examining that. I'm not talking about years of therapy, just maybe some trend. I am a huge proponent of the power and efficacy of therapy. I say with great pride that I was in therapy for 18 years. It changed my life, and it enabled me to listen better to other people and understand how I could help them. So when I say, I think maybe therapy would be good for you, I'm not saying, wow, you're a crazy person. Trish, you better get some therapy there, girl. I'm saying I'm in that club and I think it's great. You might, but I also, one of the things that I think is so important in life, and it comes up in organizing, because organizing makes, going through your closet or your garage, whatever you go through, you're confronted with, oh, why did I buy this? Why did I spend the money on that? Oh yeah, oh, I remember that. I was dating John when I bought this and he dumped me, and now suddenly, like everything is covered with the emotion of what happened when we got that item or when we used it. And so I love to teach tools, and my tools are: eat nutrient-dense food before you start organizing. Always have water at the ready. Do a little exercise. Coach Sarah, I bet Coach Sarah would have a simple workout plan you could do at home, or just take the dog for a walk. I like to walk 3 to 5 miles a day. That's my great solace. And I also do yoga, but do something that you enjoy, just to get the energy. If the energy is moving in your body, the energy will be moving in your space. And when there's stuck energy, you want to break that energetic glue. You can't have something new if you're glued into one position. But there are many tools: aromatherapy, yoga, meditation, breath work. If we have time at the end, I can teach you a simple, breath work comes from yoga, and I can teach you a simple pranayama so that when you feel nervous, you can make use of this. You can also go to my Instagram feed, and I just put it up recently. You can see it there. So these are all tools so that we can always go back to the person who wanted to get organized. And then the last thing I'll say, I could talk about this for hours, is you may think of yourself as, well, I'm an entrepreneur and here I am at my desk and I have a messy desk. So this is what I want to take care of. We do that in the West. We compartmentalize everything. What you are is a human being in time and space. From the moment you open your eyes, if you never make your bed, if you can't find your clothes, if you don't have nutrient dense healing food in the kitchen, if you do, but you can't find it, if your bathroom is just mired in moldy towels, most of them are on the floor, you are being hit by upset, and that sets up your frame of mind. And it also means that when you come into this desk area, it's a continuation of that upset. And what I like to say is, do you want to be a human being who at the end of your life has spent a good part of it looking for your keys, looking for your remote, looking for your glasses? Or do you want to be the human being who created an environment that nurtured, loved, and supported you so that you knew why you were born and you were able to more easily do the work you were born to do? Life is always going to send you upset. I talk in the book, in the epilogue, about being a cancer survivor. Next month, it's 19 years. But through that experience, I learned that this work was life work. It wasn't about the closet or the office. That's where you practice changing the way your mind functions and the way you break down anything. I remember my best friend sitting on the couch the day I was told I was a cancer patient. And she said to me, and I'm crying, I'm doing the ugly cry, snot's coming out of my nose. It wasn't pretty. And she said to me, Regina, what do you teach people about organizing? And I wanted to hit her. I thought, I might die. And you want to talk about organizing? Are you insane? And I said, I don't know. What do I teach people? And she said, you teach them that the whole of anything is overwhelming and they have to break their projects down. So tomorrow when you wake up, you don't have to do a hysterectomy and 6 rounds of chemotherapy. You only have to get up tomorrow and for the next 2 weeks, spend every day mentally gearing up for your hysterectomy. And when you finish that, then you can gear up for the first chemotherapy. And then you don't have to do it all at once. And it was in that moment that I understood what I did for a living. So I'm going to shut up now and I'll answer any question.
That's such a beautiful story. I love it. Just like how you handled that at that moment, it makes a big difference. And they even doctors believe this, that when you handle like cancer without stress, or like without so much self-stress, or like it helps people heal better. So,
and I was very lucky because some other tools that I love are chiropractic and acupuncture. And both my acupuncturist and my chiropractor said to me, for the next year, my door is open to you. Come whenever you need a treatment. So I was doing herbs and acupuncture and chiropractic and meditation and aromatherapy as natural adjuncts to surgery and chemotherapy. Now that's more mainstream. But 19 years ago, they thought I was insane. And I just thought, well, I don't care what you think. I know what the truth is. So let's go. Let's play. but it was, I don't ever want to do it again, but I am grateful for the experience. It made me a better person, a better woman, a better organizer, a better friend, a better everything. And I'm here to tell people that it's not a death sentence. And oh, Sarah, you are what you eat. Oh my God, that is so. If people want to think clearly, they have to eat nutrient-dense, good food. You can't eat Twinkies and candy bars and spaghetti and think that you will have a clear mind. So that's, I mean, oh, please, food. I could talk about food forever.
Yes, preach. I loved it. But I have a little something to admit.
Yeah.
So this morning I am chronically 1 minute late, but I wanted to post this morning. So I was like, I just finished, I wanted to share it. And so then all I had this morning was a banana. My fiance called me out on it. He's like, you're telling people that you have it together and you didn't even eat breakfast. So I said that I hadn't implemented everything yet, but no, I totally agree. I love that aspect of everything that you put.
You know, we are one organism, and in the West particularly, we separate everything out. Well, I'm here in my office now, so this has nothing to do with my family life or my spiritual life or my exercise or my food. I'm here, and it's they're like rooms in a house, but the walls are permeable. It's all fluid. And I didn't grow up with parents who knew anything about nutrition. I mean, I don't know how I have teeth in my head. My parents let me eat all the candy I wanted. I am appalled. I don't eat sugar now. And I think about my childhood eating candy at will. And I just think, oh my God, how awful. And yeah, so, but that's the fun of being alive, because you can always change your experience and you can always make it better. We're never stuck unless we put our own feet in cement. And even once you're organized, in 3 years, 5 years, you can look around and go, you know, I'm not the same person. I need new furniture, or I need to move to a different part of town to express who I am now. That's my aunt will be 93 in a few weeks. My aunt lives alone, cleans her own house, does her own grocery shopping and cooking, and runs a farm and a business.
Wow.
So there you go.
She must be organized.
She is. She is. My mother's sister, my mother's family. Yes, they were all very organized. For reasons that they wanted to control the environment, not for any higher understanding. But that's, you know, each generation has the chance to massage the knowledge that has been gained and make it better and deeper and richer. So I just honor that I was lucky enough to have a mom who did not allow chaos. I didn't know people had piles until I went to college and would go to people's homes. And it was like, why do you have all these piles? I've never seen this before. So.
Unmade decisions.
Yes, that's all piles are. They're just unmade decisions. And that's why the garage is so scary, because what do we say? Oh, I don't know. I know, I'll put it in the garage. And so we put off everything and throw it in the garage. And then it's funny. I used to live in an area of Los Angeles, if you know it, called Toluca Lake. And I had an apartment, but there's an area where all the homes are, and they're all expensive and beautiful. And I'd be walking along, and a garage door would be open, and it was like, oh my God. Like, and that's a part of your energetic experience. It's, yeah. Oh, we could talk about that for hours. So does anybody have any questions? I need you to shut up and find out what you want to know.
Yes, I definitely would like. I have a few questions, but I wanted to give you guys other people an opportunity to ask any business related organization questions. Of course, it's interesting. I've only been in business roughly a year and a half. So Michelle and Regina have been in business and know a lot of stuff, but I think between the three of us, we can probably answer most of your questions, especially anything about organization. You really want to take advantage of this opportunity.
So I'd like to point out the beginning of your book. There's two things that changed my life with your book, and it seems like they're so simple. Like, why wouldn't I know this or do this or implement this before? But one of them is I keep all my business receipts in my purse. And that was how you started the book. And so I was like, oh my God, like it's so organized. And it was all receipts, and they would create more mess and more junk. And I would never empty them out. So we created, like with Trish, I created a container where they go. And so now I just empty them out. And it has, I can't tell you, a clean purse has changed my life entirely. Like it just makes so much sense. Second, finding my keys. I wasted hours, maybe days of my life not knowing where I left my keys, like coming in and not having somewhere set to put my purse, my glasses, and my keys. And so I was always like, oh my God, where are my glasses? Where are my keys? Where are my keys? And it was so chaotic, like to start your day or to want to leave somewhere and not do that. Like I can't even imagine the energy that I was bringing into places. So I feel like I'm like far more at ease with just those two things. I mean, that doesn't even begin to show everything else. But I listened to your book, and my boys, I have two sons. I have full custody, and I never get a break. But during the weekend that they were gone, I listened to your book the entire weekend while I was cleaning. And I took time to, I was like, okay, like now this, okay, now this. And it just has changed my life. I can see like a big difference in my home and how organized and clean and zen and inviting it looks. Like we watch TV. We've never watched TV, and now we actually have like an area that allows us to watch TV because it's comfortable and cool and and changing. And it has changed not just my life, but the life of my sons. And it was just that, like just even the beginning. And it thank you. So thank you for that. I don't know if anybody else has any other experience that stuck by them. I know we're all in different places. We all have different experiences, and we all took something different from the book. Please feel free to chime in.
Yeah, my kitchen is totally clean now because we cleaned it together. It was the same thing while I was like listening to the audiobook. I was like, okay, I could do one more thing. I could do one more thing. And then my whole makeup routine also in the morning. I love the suggestion about having everything set up the night before, and I've tried that. But I think the difference was managing the timing by how quickly you put everything up. I was like, okay, well, this is done, this is done, this is done. I love that.
It's so when you have a set routine for getting ready in the morning, you'll know what time it is and how much time you have left just by where you are in the routine. That's a fun thing. And I also with makeup, I mean, God, I love makeup, but having what you use every day available, and then the special makeup put away for special occasions, that lightens the load in the bathroom as well.
Yes, for sure.
And
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a question.
Yes.
And maybe this is kind of posed to everybody in the group. So after we've read or listened to everything and we all like think it's amazing, I mean, I would love to share it with other people, but how do you share this with somebody else without offending them? Hey, I read an amazing book about organizing your life. You should read it. Like without, you know what I mean?
I do know. I do. That's a very thoughtful question. I think maybe 5 times in my life I have been given somebody as a gift. And I've learned that that does not work because the person feels judged and annoyed and they don't care what I do. They want me to get out. Well, in a family situation, what I say is instead of saying to everybody, okay, we're going to be organized now. There's a new sheriff in town and everything's going to be different. You just start by your example. If you just start integrating a few habits. When I was at iVillage, back when I wrote my first book and I was trying to sell it, I would have these challenges. So we'd have 6 weeks together and it would be great. There'd be like 9, 7, 13,000 women. And the first week they would all be angry with me because they would say, no, I want to get up on my feet. I want to do something. And I'd be saying to them, what I want you to do is create some habits, like make your bed every day. Don't leave dirty dishes in the sink, put clean dishes away. And I said, just trust me. Don't say anything to anybody in your family. And people are affected by that shift in energy. And people want to get in on a good thing, even kids. So parents will say to me, oh, I want you to do the whole house, but I want you to start in my child's room. And I say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I have to start in your room. And when your child or children come home from school, I want them to look at your closet and say, oh, I didn't know a closet could look like that. Can I have that? Rather than, oh, really? Oh, my mother wants you to work with me? Great. So I would do the same thing with your friends. They will sense a shift in your energy and the way you function in the home. If you have people come over, they will see a difference. If you have somebody specific in mind who could benefit from the book, if you can just talk about, like you're having a chit chat and you could say, have you read any interesting books lately? And they may talk about a novel they just read. And you could say, oh, I have to put that on my reading list. You know, I just read this self-help book, and just talk about what it did for you and how much you enjoyed it. Not, you know, you really ought to do this, because that would put my back up against the wall. Oh, really? Oh, what are you saying? I'm a slob? Because that's what people hear. And so just keep it about you.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But
your example and saying what it did for you rather than, and then, you know,
maybe that's a good way. Just like talking constantly about, oh my gosh, this has been life-changing. Now I'm not spending 25 minutes looking for this and that every week.
Yeah,
that's true. I like it.
And you can always give them the book for Christmas as a stocking stuffer gift. That's always like, oh, this is your small present. That's always, or for a birthday, or it all depends on who they are and how open they are.
My parents.
Oh,
I think my father could have co-authored the book with you, and my mom would be the client. And I'm a blend. I'm a blend of both.
And would you like to give the book to your mom?
Yes. My dad, I think, would just be like putting check marks on all your suggestions for what he does. And then my mom would be, I don't know.
Sarah,
she would like it.
I don't know how old you are, but you are an adult. So your parents have been in this dance for a long time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they may be getting something out of that battle for control. I mean, if your mother suddenly became exactly like your father, that would be a big shift.
That would be weird.
Well, give him the book and then it'll just be around the house. Oh, Dad, I knew you would enjoy this.
Last year, they got the Spark Joy author. I don't remember her name.
Marie Kondo.
I gave them that for Christmas and they loved it.
Did they do any of it, or did they just love reading it?
I think it was just inspiration. It's a very visual book.
Yeah, I don't usually read organizing books, but I read that one to find out what the big deal was. And I have my theories.
I think it's just a good coffee table book.
What did you say, Sarah?
I think it's a good coffee table book.
It's
more than a read.
Yeah, I don't think I have enormous, she is so genuine and so sweet and so dear. I don't doubt her for a second. But I think a lot of what she teaches is not practical. Taking everything out of your purse when you come home, thanking each item and putting it away so you can start fresh the next morning is, to me, busy work. What are you doing? I think there are more, yes, take out your receipts and anything that should come out and be integrated into your home, but that seems unimportant to me. I don't care.
100% agreed.
Yeah, and I don't care how people fold their clothes. If you want to take the time to do those origami folds, then I say, God bless you, you do it. If you want to fold like they do in the department store, then you do it. As long as all of your folding is consistent and the same, you're good to go. And then the one thing that she says that most organizers say that I just did a video about it, it makes me insane. If you take everything out of a space, like let's say you have a walk-in closet, if you take everything out and either put it on the floor or put it on your bed, you now have no workspace. So, and you have made something that's going to be difficult and emotional and confrontive 10 times more difficult because of the way you're setting it up. And so that every time I read that, I just think, why? It's, how do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. It's one item at a time. And then you're finding out what your categories are. What am I keeping? What am I giving away? If your work environment gets a little too cluttered, you can take some bags out to the trash, load up your car for Goodwill, whatever it is you have to do. And then you continue to have workspace. But, I could see, I really could. We could be here for 10 hours. So I'm going to shut up now and say that's all I'll say about that.
I'm gonna say, Sarah, I think the one approach to do it would be to actually bond with your dad over the book, so that your mom is overhearing the stuff that you guys are bonding with or that you're talking about, and make sure, and your dad will be excited just because you're coming with a conversation for him that he's gonna read the book, and then indirectly you'll have your mom hearing it without giving her the book.
Okay, so I'll be sneaky about it. I like it.
Dealing with kids, you don't always have a direct approach. You kind of come in, well, even dealing with the spouse, I want you to think that the idea you just had was your idea and not realize that I gave it to you. I mean, it's just psychology. It's what it is. You might also want to have a conversation with your dad and find out would he be happier if your mom changed? Or is her chaos something that he has just learned to live with and on some level? No.
He's very, very, he's very OCD in terms of where things should be placed. And he's not mean about it, or he just has his order of things. And he's a math teacher as well. So he sees that's the way his brain works. And then my mom teaches kindergarten, where you kind of have to thrive in chaos, if that makes sense. So it's two different worlds that are together, but no, looking for makeup in the morning, looking for keys. I think we can all benefit from it, but stuff like that, I would love for her to have that piece myself as well. So I guess maybe a journey together.
Yeah, and maybe if you tell her how much you have enjoyed changing your life, and I don't suggest that I don't work with two people in the same household in the same room. It just is never a good idea. But you could, Trish, so you could ask your mom, for Christmas, if I gave you a couple of sessions with Trish, would that make you happy? It's, women will, either a woman or a husband will say to me, my spouse will not ever ... And I'm telling you, people do anything I ask pretty much. And then the spouse who's had this problem will say to me, well, how did you get so-and-so to do that? And I say, well, when I say, would you like to get rid of these boxes? There's no emotional juju on it. It's just, would you like to get rid of these boxes? But when you ask, there's a whole relationship and, experiences, and there's a struggle for control that's present that wouldn't be present with a stranger. I mean, your mom has no juice about Trish. Trish is just coming in to help, but you, her daughter, then your help could be, or you're siding with your father, or you're just that, you know what I mean? Like you could go to that realm. So I would just be, you always want it to be a gift that makes life better and doesn't become a source of hurt feelings or irritation.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I like all the suggestions.
Good. And Michelle, it's the easy things that usually are the most profound. We're always looking for some big solution, and just putting out a basket or a hook for your keys so that you never have to have that drama again. That is huge. That's
It's
huge.
It completely changed my life. I can't even tell you, like, I leave the place like without stress. Like I didn't even understand how much stress like it was causing into my life. And it's the little things, and you would think that's so common sense. Like, why wouldn't I do that before? So I don't understand why myself. Now, contrary to Coach Sarah, I was raised with my mom's a hoarder. I hope she's not listening, but my mom's like a bad hoarder. So I didn't even realize what I was doing, because it's like a pattern that you didn't like you didn't it didn't make sense to me. Like I didn't understand what organizing was. And now, like, of course, like you said, like breaking patterns and establishing new ones, like there's never anywhere where you go and they teach you this is how you get organized. So this book was life changing to me, just because of the details. Like some of them seem to just make sense, but no, it doesn't just make sense. Like it's very profound for some people, and it's extremely life changing. But I feel that my life has changed for the better in these last I mean, certainly with Trisha's help, but in these last 3 weeks, I learned things that Trish hadn't been able to, or weren't there yet. So now when I work with her, and I worked with her today, it was awesome because we used time to like catch up and drink water, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is where I'm at. And then the job to get it done, actually, between the two of us takes nothing. Like, we can do it so fast because we're on the same page as far as organization now. Like she's the expert, but I'm like, okay, like this is what we need to do. It just changed completely.
And think what a gift you are giving your sons. You are modeling what an organized life can do for you, and they will just absorb it like mother's milk, and you don't even need to have a conversation. They'll just see how efficacious it is to live this way. And how old are they?
So I have a 15-year-old son and a 12-year-old son.
Those are great ages to really get the lesson. And teenagers, it's very hard to be a teenager, and you have to rebel. And sometimes I'm asked to work with teenagers, and I say, I have to have an agreement with the parents that, I mean, within reason. If the child says, I hate my bedroom furniture, we're not going to put it out on the lawn. That would be absurd. But within normal choices for your room, can I give this child dominion over their space? And I always say to the kid, I'm not going to go tell your mother everything you tell me. I mean, if you tell me you're doing drugs or you're having unprotected sex, yes, I will bust you. But anything else you tell me is just between us, so you can trust me. And I say, tell me, are you disorganized? Are you doing this to make your parents crazy? Are you like enjoying this? Or is there something else going on? And 99% of the time they tell me, oh yeah, I know it makes my mom or my dad crazy. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. And I say, well, you know what? Try and find some other place to have your rebellion, because when you rebel and your room becomes a pigsty, you're really hurting yourself. So let's set you up to win. And then we change the room. And I love working with kids. It's like being a teenager, you have a leg in two different worlds. On one hand, you're still a child who wants to be taken care of. And on the other, you feel like, well, wait a minute, I'm an adult and I have all these sexual feelings. And it's hard. And it's certainly hard on the parents. And it's why I don't have children. I just organize.
So it does help them. I think, not too long ago, we read another book here for the book club that talked about what we see that our kids need help in is usually what we need help with. So my 15-year-old, he's very organized, just himself, he likes to be clean. But the 12-year-old was a hot little mess. And I said, he just needs like things that are practical around him. Like this isn't like it, he needs to help placing his furniture in practical ways. Like this is my gaming station. This is where I'm going to get dressed. And this is where I sleep. And it really did help. And before we didn't need it as much, that zen in the room, because prior to COVID, they weren't in their room as much as they are now. But when you're in your room all day, organization matters. So I started understanding that I needed organization, so that kind of like you said, when you organize the rooms, he wasn't going to understand organization until he saw me organized. I needed organization, not him.
Yeah, it's really so difficult to say, do as I say, not as I do. That's my father, God bless him, about certain things he would say, you do as I say because I'm telling you, but don't do as I do. I can't even think of an example. It was pretty rare, but I always used to think, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. You want me to do the right thing in this situation, but you're not. Like, wait, no. So learning by when your parents set that example for what organization is, and they model how it makes life easier, then you always want to make it inviting. So the person is like, oh, I want to get in on a good thing here. Not, oh, what do I have to do now? Oh, great. Another thing we have to do in this family. But rather, oh, wait, no, I've never had a kid come home from school, no matter how old they were, and look at a parent's closet and not say, hey, can I have that? Because it's inviting and restful and beautiful and easy to use. Like, why wouldn't you want that? So
I was helping myself learn the strategies from the book. When they came back from their uncle's house, his room was structured differently, and he is loving it. So now he loves the room so much that he doesn't let it get dirty. So maybe he didn't love the place either. And when it had different organization and more practical, he has not let his room get dirty. It's already been like 2.5 weeks.
wow, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
His
So
wife, their wives are going to thank you. That's what happens with
yes, they will, because that's big. That's really
it's
big.
huge. I dated a
You know
guy, I
what?
think
Thinking about because I got to see like so many kids during like virtual teaching. And at the beginning, there was a lot of kids just doing school on their beds. So people just, I think, kept thinking like, oh, this is going to be over really quick. It's going to be over. And the kids that seemed to be a little bit more successful or engaged throughout the year had a set workspace.
yeah.
And like, even, it just makes you feel more like focused. They know what they're doing. Like their area had a purpose. When they were on their beds, they were just like, well, yeah, this is where I sleep or where I watch movies. It was very difficult for a lot of kids.
Ancient yogis said, meditate in the same place every day. And energy of meditation will grow strong. And then on the days when you don't feel like meditating, the energy itself will help you. Well, and then feng shui says, well, every area of your home should be dedicated to specific purposes. So you're exactly right. If I'm working in my bed, that's a real contradiction in terms. This is where I sleep and relax, and it's also where I rev up and work. That's really hard. And if you have a separate zone, when you go to that zone, it's like, okay, I'm in the zone and I have to work now. But I mean, who expected COVID? Who expected? It's been a very difficult it was a very difficult challenge because I remember being booked out for like 3 months in advance. And then I came home one day and we went into shutdown and didn't know when we would, it's the not knowing. When are we opening up? When will life go back to normal? Will it ever be what it was? And can I do enough to protect myself from getting sick? But parents who had to confront all of that and work from home and have kids who were in school, I just think that's a very difficult situation. And organizing will certainly help it. But, you're suddenly a teacher and you're not trained for that. And it's not, your kids don't want to learn math from you. So that was just a whole situation that was fraught with difficulty. And I take my hat off to every parent anywhere in the world who faced that down. That was tough and made worse if you didn't go into it with an organized space. There's another reason to get organized so that when the emergencies of life hit, you'll be ready. Supported.
Another thing I did do, so this week I got a mannequin for my clothes because you did say, you talked about rearranging your clothes. Now I've been taking it separately from like the Entrepreneur Book Club. I've been learning a book, not a book, but just about like embracing your femininity. And with this, it helped me with the mannequin to lay out my clothes and see what it's going to look like. And so now in the morning, I'm not like, oh my gosh, what am I going to wear? Like, take that off. Like, I know now down, even like, I mean, it's new, so I'm sure I'm playing with it, but I hope that I never stop doing this because I've been actually dressing up the mannequin. I'm like, oh my God, like this necklace will look cute. Okay, like now I'm gonna wear like the rose gold with this outfit, or I'm gonna wear my gold jewelry. So it definitely, I really like that. I'm like, that's so fun.
Then getting dressed is an expression of your femininity and what you want to express that day, not an emergency that leaves you distraught and exhausted. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so like a few minutes at night, I've been doing that at night. I'll just get the clothes ready, and now it's like it gives me even a space like to steam it, so I'm not doing it in the morning. It helps me decorate it so I look a little bit more put together, and I'm not rushing out after trying out like this didn't look good or this did look good, because the mannequin was like it's like a $50 investment. Like it was the best. So the basket for the keys, the mannequin, like I'm telling you, like I don't even know who I am anymore because I have definitely changed for the better. And I hope that I really want to keep these habits for life. Like these seem like habits that would be healthy. And like as I grow older and now my life needs more organization than zen and tranquility. Rather, I can't handle chaos anymore.
I love you. I love everything you're saying. And we talk about, I have to establish good habits now. And it sounds like, oh God, another thing I have to do. But our life is full of habits. That's how life runs. So your old habit was, I walk in the house and wherever the keys land, that's where they land. That's my habit. And I work that habit religiously. So now it doesn't take any more time or energy to put a key in a basket than it does to just fling it into the environment and say, good luck to me finding it later. So a lot of these habits, they're just exchanging. It's exchanging energy. You're really not adding. And then we all have, I hate the word routine because it sounds so routine. It sounds so awful. So I like to say ritual. So you just string some habits together that are good. And then suddenly you have, like you can get dressed, you can get ready in the morning on autopilot. My dogs always know when I'm going out to see a client. My energy is different. I'm moving faster, and they know they know where I'm going in what order, and it's very calming for me. I always know what time it is just by where I am in the process. But everything has to be organized, and then the night before, I always have to know. It's so easy in California. I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but I come from New York, where everybody would dress. And then I moved to California, where basically you wear jeans and sneakers. And then what you're changing is your jacket and your shirt, because every day you're in jeans. So it's just a matter of having a lot of jeans. At first, I thought this is really weird. And now it's like, well, Rachel Maddow always wears the same blazer. There was a famous woman newscaster who always went to work in her black pantsuit. I mean, some of that is it's just easier and enjoyable. And if you want to change your outfit every day, you can. But yeah, so I'm down with all of that.
I think it just helps me, like being organized helps me mentally prepare for different things to handle like bigger tasks. Like now in the morning, I actually have more tranquility, so I can do the things I love, like getting myself, okay, like cover your ears, but getting myself a cup of coffee and water and drinking my collagen, those things are more fun now, and I have time for them. Whereas to before, it was like it was good job. I had done a good job if I was able to get my coffee, and now I'm even drinking it while I'm getting ready, which makes it more enjoyable because I'm not like in the car, trying to drive and drink, and we're not going to talk about that. But I'm loving the habits.
That is so beautiful. And is your mom literally a hoarder, or are you using that?
No, she's literally a hoarder. It's very hard. Like when I would help her clean, like she would go check the trash can, and this is when I was a teenager. And so if she went inside the house and she saw that I had cleaned, like she would immediately go to the trash and take out the stuff that I would take in, like she would take it back in.
That, there is, excuse me, wait, come here. Okay. My tiniest dog wants to say hello. This is Mouse.
Hello.
There's a part of the brain that is literally shrinking when you are hoarding. And it's like saying to an alcoholic, could you just stop drinking? This is not good for you. I'm going to take the alcohol out of the house. Just leave your mom alone. I mean, unless she wants to go to therapy or try. I know there are drugs for that, but true hoarders are not, I don't believe they're candidates for working with an organizer. I know there are organizers who specialize in hoarders, but you can clean out the house and they get comfort out of all that stuff being in the environment. So they need that around them. And so what is the root cause is what brings up that feeling that you're not safe, that you need stuff around you. And that's not your job to heal that. Just love her. And very different from Sarah's mom, who has probably a lack of organizing skills, and that's something you can acquire. But everybody calls themselves a hoarder. It's such an American thing. But if it's true hoarding, just love her for who she is, and just tell her that if ever she wants to do any kind of organizing or clean, you're there for her. You'll be right there. But she has to ask you. You don't want to impose on her.
No, I think I stopped trying because it would create animosity, and so I didn't want to make her feel like that. So I was just just let her. I guess the way I thought, I was like, if it's not coming from her, kind of like it's not going to happen, and it has to get to that point. But maybe you had a point in the earlier story you said where it comes like from deeper issues, like her needing therapy to even be able to accept help. But no, I don't try to change her. I think that was when I was a teenager because I wanted my house to be clean.
Of course.
But there it was like fighting, kind of like how you said, like some kids leave their room messy to fight, and I would clean my house to fight with my mom. I was the opposite.
Are you an only child?
No, I have a younger brother.
And does he ever get involved in the house situation, or he's a guy and mom can do whatever she wants?
No, he was just like mom can just be. Like we just let mom be. Cause she's like super sweet. Like she's a super sweet, like awesome lady, but it was just letting, yeah, like not everybody's gonna catch on.
Did she grow up with courting, or did this happen in her adult life?
I think she grew up in poverty, and so to her having things meant like having value, like or and so it comes from like deeper issues of her growing up. That's what it was.
Yeah, you're a very sweet, understanding daughter. She's very blessed. I mean, you wouldn't say you can't make an alcoholic stop drinking, and you can't make a hoarder stop hoarding. And it just causes stress. So why not just enjoy her, and you don't have to live there? And
that's how I see it. I was like, I don't have to live there. We're just gonna go have dinner and sit at the dinner table and leave, and that's it.
Yeah, she can come to your house and be impressed by, like, wow.
Yeah.
Trish, I'm going to get more work for you. Then you can go over and help her mom, because Michelle can't work with her mom.
I think she will. She's been listening to social media, so I think that eventually my mom catches on, like, and she starts supporting like the women she sees I'm supporting. So I hope that she one day calls Trish. That would be a dream. It's on me if she ever calls you. You tell her.
Yes, definitely.
Trish, did you have questions for me?
I did. I just wanted to ask quickly, because I know everybody here is entrepreneurs. Just some things that I've encountered in working with my clients so far. I know we're getting close to the time, so I'm just going to ask one major one is receipts. Michelle was just speaking about cleaning out her bag, and I will honestly tell you, if this were not tailored toward entrepreneurs, I would still say that paper takes the cake with my clients. A lot of people call me over and they're like, I have these papers. And the interesting thing is the categories, a lot of times people they're familiar with them, but they really kind of need someone to sit there with them. I think you touched on the fear of throwing away things. I see that as being a common problem. I was actually just discussing this morning about another story, the heartwarming story about that if you don't give your things a loving send off, nobody else will.
Oh.
But yeah, I see that a lot of entrepreneurs have a hard time managing paper and receipts. Business cards, another form of the paper clutter for the entrepreneur, because we think we're going to need it. Do you have any advice for us that, I think categories was very good. So I think I like that. And I wasn't using that. I'm going to switch. But just anything you can give us with pretty much the entrepreneur paper. What can we do so that we don't feel like we're losing money and losing time?
That's such a big question. I saw Shaq was selling something the other day. I don't know how it works, but it's a machine, and you put your receipts in and they get read and sorted. And I have to look into that. I thought,
Yes.
That's really cool. But a big thing that I see in all offices is that if you feel you have to save everything, like a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, live in terror of being audited, then the big thing is to have a place, whether it's in the back of a closet or in the garage, if you're saving it, if you haven't moved to a mostly paperless environment, to every year clean out what represents last year's taxes and store them. And I always say to people, for this year, let's get files and get really organized so that we'll have these categories going forward. But for past years, just put everything related to that year in a box. And then if you're never audited, you don't ever have to do that. Now, you have to save 3 years for the federal government, and then every state is different. California is 4 years. So when I file my taxes for the current year, I put those receipts in my closet, in the back of my closet, and I pull out what is now able to be shredded and tossed. So I always have a movement there. But I've had many clients who have been audited or afraid of auditing, and they save a lot. And I say, just get it out. What is in your workspace must be now, must be current. You know, if you remodeled your office and it was 5 years ago or a year ago, take all those receipts, put them together, maybe in a book. So when you go to sell your house or your place where you have your office, where you have your business, you can say to somebody, yes, and I want an extra $20,000 because you see, I did this audit and here's all my paper backup. But once you finish a project, get that out of the office. The office, what's around you has to be now. And I used to have a 4-drawer file cabinet and 2-drawer file cabinets. I don't have any file cabinets anymore. I still use the same file system, but it's online now. Everything is digital. And I'm astonished that that happened to me. I don't even get a bank statement anymore from my bank. You know, you can save just everything is able to be saved online. So keep it current, have a system for archiving, and really encourage people. So here's what I know: save your literal tax return. Because if Uncle Sam loses it, they won't care if all your backup material is gone, your support material. They're going to say, we have no record of you filing for that year, so you have to file again. That would be a nightmare. You want to be able to pick up your tax return and say, sorry, here it is, let me send you another copy. But it's the support material that can go. And a lot of people say to me, well, I know somebody who got audited and it was for 20 years ago. And I say, well, yes, but that's because they suspect a crime. So if you know you cheat on your taxes, then you have to save everything. But otherwise, lean and mean are my watchwords, because that makes you powerful. And also, as Mickey Mouse as it sounds, following the feng shui rules of never sitting in line with the door. You sit where the Godfather would sit in a restaurant. So you can look up and you see who's coming into your office, and you're not facing a window where your ideas can fly out. I had one lady once, I think I wrote about her in one year. She had this big desk and she had her back to the door. And I said, please, 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 please let me turn that desk around. It will make such a difference. And no. And finally, at the end of the night, I said, I'm off the clock. You've paid me. I'm ready to go. Let's turn that desk. And if you hate it, we'll turn it back. It's on me. She turned the desk. She was really great. She sat down and she just looked around. And I said, well, how do you feel? Do you like it better? And she said, I feel like a captain of industry. I said, thank you. I guess we can leave the desk in that turned position. But as Mickey Mouse as that sounds, when people sit with their back to the door, it's not good energetically. And even if you don't believe in all that, or it will affect you. So get them to turn around and be powerful.
Yes, definitely.
We actually did that with my desk.
And
I've had that impression, people are like, wow, like your desk like makes you feel like you're in such a powerful position. And it changed my life. Like the meetings, it puts me like just in like this position of power. Like it's so, I can't even explain it, but I like to do business negotiations on my desk now. Just because
isn't that's
where
just
it fits
beautiful.
me. Like it almost sits me above. So it's just like a good position. It makes a huge difference. Put your desk where it should go. Like I'm glad I listened to Trish on that one. That's not how I wanted it. That's not how I wanted it.
Well, people very often want to look out the window. Say, no, I'd like to look out the window. And I say, no, let's turn you so you can face the door, and then you can look out the window without sitting right in front of it. And the metaphor in feng shui is, people will say to me, I live alone, no one's going to sneak up behind me, because that's what you want to avoid people sneaking up behind you. And I say, but all of feng shui it's metaphoric language. So what they're really saying is, you don't want anybody sneaking up behind you in life and doing sneaky things. You want to be in the power position. Because, think about The Godfather. Marlon Brando didn't go into a restaurant and sit with his back to the door. Guys who come, and women who come back from war, who have been in combat, don't sit with their back to the door. It's much more, it's so funny. It's so ingrained in me. When I go out to dinner with my friends, before we sit down, they all say, Regina, where do you want to sit? And I say, thank you. I have to sit facing the door. Otherwise, I feel very vulnerable. And you want to feel like a boss when you're working, not vulnerable. So.
Sure.
Well, I think we have this, I can't believe we've hit the time, but we actually went over half an hour. It was so easy. You have been so awesome to talk to. I can't thank you enough. How honored we are to have you here as part of like the book club and discussing your book, like with the person who actually wrote these tips to change my life. It's awesome. So thank you for joining us. I thank Trish for recommending your book more than anything. I'm so grateful. Thanks for everybody that joined us tonight. Marcella, Eric, Coach Sarah, Chelsea. It's been a pleasure meeting you. Trish and Regina, do you girls have any closing statements before we take off tonight?
I don't think I have anything. I'm very low key. I'm very plain, and I'm here if anybody needs me. I dedicate my life to serving other people. It helps me. Organizing you helps me get more organized. And I'm here for you guys if you need anything. I also want to thank Ms. Lees for joining us. It was such an honor and inspiration for me. I so appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing what you do next.
And we're connected. We're friends now. We're members of the same tribe.
Does anybody have any closing statements that they'd like to let us know? Thank you. This was such a pleasure from Coach Sarah to everyone.
So I have a question, Trish. How do we contact you for your services?
So I am on Calendly, www.calendly.com/itidy. I'll put the link in the chat for you. You can also reach out on Instagram. I'm iTidy Personal Organizer, and on Facebook.
I've been organizing for 33 years, and I know the real deal when I see it, and Trish is the real deal. And I don't give that compliment to most organizers. So you'll be blessed to have her help you.
Trish is definitely the real deal. If she got me organized, she can get anybody organized. I was a hot little mess, pretending to have it all together, like the Homer Simpson meme where I was like clothespins on the back. That was me. It was a lie. But now we're going into real organizing, and yes, Regina and Trish are both the real deal. So thank you all for joining us tonight. If you have not read the book, I highly recommend it, and I hope to have Regina back and go over one of her other books. Like, I know she has other ones. So as we said, we're all friends now, so make sure you're following each other on Instagram, on social media, and we'll be catching up with you all soon.